let's go into, we were going to talk about this yesterday again, but the Russell Westbrook news pushed it to today. Draft sleepers, Dave. And just to clarify for everyone before we start this is the definition of sleeper that we are going by, because a ton of people have different ways they look at sleepers. These are guys that basically people sleep on and are overlooking their potential, overlooking what their end product will be when they go through their NBA career. So, Dave, are there any guys, what's one guy that you're looking at that it's like, you know what? This guy's a fucking sleeper in this draft. People are overlooking him.
How far down do I have to go down this list?
As far as you want. It could
like,
be high, it could be medium, could be low. Like, to me, most of my guys are low.
10. A lot of people have him at 20 to 25.
Yeah.
I think that's a
fair.
sleeper. I think that's somebody who has elite talent. He has elite shooting. He's an amazing rebounder for his position and for his size.
Yep.
He's added like 15 pounds of muscle or something like that. I've seen his workouts lately. He looks like he's in great shape. I don't understand how someone with his shooting splits, his ability, and his shot form is still so low on people's boards. The concerns were his size. He's been remeasured. He's been reweighed. He's no longer the rail thin kid. And I think he will continue to add size and strength to his frame.
Yeah.
So I think he is, in my mind, I think he's a lotto pick lock. And I think he actually has like top 7 talent potentially in this draft.
Is it because of, and here's the thing I'll ask you, is it because we've had, obviously, if I'm just looking at point guards, Lonzo, Halliburton, and Hayes have been usually the top 3 that we've talked about. And then after that, it's always been Kira Lewis. And it's the one thing that I always see about Kira Lewis is nobody wants to talk about like anything about his game except for the first thing that goes, man, dude is quick. Dude's got speed.
He's got elite first step,
to kill. Yeah.
which reminds you of De'Aaron Fox, which reminds you of John Wall.
Yeah.
He can get to the rim, but he needs to get better at finishing at the rim.
Exactly.
And his shot, I think, is good but not great. And that's the thing. It's like he's got an excellent package, but at this point, like, I'm gonna take the kid who looks like Dame Lillard, kind of. I want the Dame Lillard. I want the Steph Curry. I want that kind of a player on my team. I understand the John Wall, De'Aaron Fox is like, that's incredible as a comp, and I think the defense that Kira Lewis can provide is probably better right now. But like Tyrell Terry's got an it factor with his offensive skill set, and I think that he is going to be very, very good. And yeah, I think in a redraft in 5 years, he's probably a top 10 pick lock.
So do you have Tyrell Terry as?
He's in my top 7.
But if you're ranking point guards, is he's ahead of Kira? He's 4.
Yes.
So
I think I've got Ball at 1. I've got Halliburton, Hayes, then him, and I think actually I bumped Halliburton below him. So I think I've now got
3.
Ball, Terry, Hayes, Halliburton.
Okay, so he's your second point guard.
I think he might be my second point guard now. Yeah.
I mean, makes sense. Like, that's the thing with Tyrell Terry. It's the biggest thing that I've seen, everything I've looked into him, is the biggest question of, this is the potential that people think he is at. Is he going to reach that potential?
Yeah.
Like, and in your mind, you're
you
for
see a
sure
little Tyler Hero in his game? Maybe
a little bit. That I've kind of got 2 that I want to package together for a distinct reason. One of them is Tyrese Maxey. I think he's going a little bit lower in mocks than where I think he would be on a big board. And the reason why is when it comes down to Maxey's kind of potential, there's one thing I always see in scouting reports. And by the way, there's a part of me that hates seeing this because when I actually like see it written on the page, my brain wants to go like, wow, that's just lazy scouting, but like there's no other way to put it. Yeah. It's like that dog mentality. He's just a dog, man. And
there are many better ways to do it, but people are lazy.
Yeah, I look at that and I go, I know what you mean, but it comes off wrong for me. But like that's what he's got. He's got that mentality of like, and it feeds in with his defense because he's so physical. Like he is somebody that I could see having the same kind of like, I'm not saying he's going to be Jimmy Butler. I'm not saying that. but he could have that same kind of drive that Jimmy does have. And I'm not saying that's going to make him an elite player, but he could be someone that we look down the line, kind of like a Klay Thompson-esque, where like I look at where Klay was drafted in his draft class and I go, damn, how did he fall that far? Like, I know he didn't fall super far, but it's like, damn, based off of what I've seen through Klay in his career, what was going on in that draft class that made him go as low as he did? I think Maxey's going to be the same way, where we're not looking at him in a redraft of being a top 5, but he's probably someone that's going to go outside the lottery, and we're going to look back at him and go, man, he probably should have been mid to late lotto rather than being outside the lotto.
I have him in that range. I think he's someone we talked about in that range, but I do know the general consensus outside of this show is he's a bit lower. Who was your second? And I think I kind of had that a little before, was him playing in a certain role right now in college and him potentially playing out of position, what he's being asked to do in that offense, because they had Emmanuel Quickly, who was able to pull up, knock down some really nice shots. And he's probably a guy who late second right now on a lot of people's boards. I think he'll be able to contribute, in a very good form for a couple of years right out the gates.
The other one was Cole Anthony. And like, this was one where when we did the way too early, and it was like right then you're watching all the high school basketball clips, there were 3 guys I fell in love with, 4 guys, because I already was in love with Lonzo Ball or LaMelo Ball. But 3 guys I fell in love with. The first one was Nico Mannion, who he can go in the second round, Dave. I will always love Nico Mannion. He's my boy, except for when he beat the Illini. That was probably a sad day for me. Him and Zeke Nnaji destroyed us. The other one was R.J. Hampton, and the third one was Cole Anthony, where I think this is a guy where we look at North Carolina and put all of the struggles on Cole Anthony, and I don't think that's right, where it was like, that's a team that the last couple of years hasn't been the same team, and I'm starting to think with that
they were
system,
a great team. All their talent left.
It was one of those where it's like the last few years after they won the national championships, it's like the Nasir Little year, there were questions of like, this team should be better than what they are, especially in ACC play. And like,
was there.
Even with Cole Anthony, there was always the questions of like, this team should be better than what we see in some games. And there was, of course, Cole Anthony had a little bit, I want to say he had a little bit of injury.
He had an injury.
Some games.
He missed a chunk of time. And they also had the worst supporting cast they've had in the last 15 years. Like, that's, you talk about the Nasir Little year.
Yeah.
He got bailed out by having one of the best offensive wings in college basketball.
Also didn't help that Roy Williams.
He was a true leader, and he was upperclassman. Like, they lost upperclassmen on that team.
I look at it and I go, let's not.
It was a shit team.
Let's not.
But he did not do himself favors.
Let's not take the success or the lack of success that we had from North Carolina and put that all on Cole Anthony, because I think he's somebody that, like, I'll be honest, I look at it and it's like a lot of people have him going like the Knicks with their second pick as the lowest. The Miami Heat are where like people are really solidifying him early 20s. I think he's a guy mid-teens. That's like his potential, where it's like, I think if I'm sitting there 14, 15, 16 and I need a point guard, I would go ahead and take Cole Anthony. He would be a guy that I would for sure lock in with, because yet again, he's got the potential. He's got what I want in a point guard. It's just, do you think he's going to hit on it? Developing a shot. Like, that's the thing though. Like, I rather have someone that needs to develop a shot than like, man, I need to teach this kid attitude, and I need to teach this kid how to like care for the game, and that's not what
he's got a passion. He is not lacking in that area. He loves basketball, always has, always will kind of kid. So that's why I love like the conversations that his interviews have been really good. Even because he was already on the like spotlight from age like 13, 14.
Yeah.
You can see interviews of him at a young age, and the highlight clips started early, and it's just like, damn, kid could be special.
Who's another one for you?
If you're going with early mock busts, then I will too. McDaniels.
Okay.
Again, the kid's 6'10", who can ball handle, who can ISO, who can hit mid range, who can go attack the rim. He's got defensive potential just because of his size. He's athletic for his size. He's got decent feet for his size. The only problem is Washington sucked, and his coach was inept.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched Washington players be good year over year over year, and I don't see a problem with him coming into the NBA. I think that he needs to land on the right team is the biggest thing. He's got a unique skill set. He needs to be treated more. He needs to have his skill set catered to. He's not a plug and play wing. He's not a guy who is just going to be like, he's not your Cam Johnson who can just come in, take open threes, and play decent defense. Like, that's not his game. He needs ball in hand, which, again, as a late 1 pick or a early 2 in some dumb mocks that I've seen, it's not a role that they would give to someone very easily. But, like, I think he's got a skill set very similar to a Pascal Siakam. I think he has that ability to attack with the ball in his hand and be, like an 18-point a game scorer. I think he can put up like 18-6-2, 18-6-3, somewhere in that range if he lands in the right situation. But if he doesn't, he's going to struggle and he's going to be trapped in like NBA purgatory, basically. And I don't know, long term. Like, he's a high hit, high miss kind of prospect.
You're right, though, because for me, I'm just looking at, as you're saying, Jade McDaniels, I'm like, how high? Because as I was doing the draft process, it's like, how high was he on my board where it's like, what team did, like, okay, this is where he started popping up. And the 3 teams that were prevalent where he didn't make the top 3, but he was right there on the outside. It's like, I had the Brooklyn Nets, the Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics. And the one thing all 3 of those teams have in common is there are things he needs to work on. One of the things, which, yet again, is an easy thing for me, is he's got to fill out his frame. Like, look at Joel Embiid. He did that. Look at him. Like, filling out your frame is not a death sentence. Just hit the weight room.
Well, yes and no. Okay. I will defend the, like, he has to remain lighter because of his athleticism.
Yeah, he's athletic, like, and he's got length.
You can't get Joel Embiid ripped.
No. I'm not saying exactly like Embiid, but like for his position.
Everyone does, though.
He just needs to fill out, like, and he'll be fine. Literally,
there's 2 players in college who are who are freshmen who have filled out, and that's Anthony Edwards, who I think moved back a year in his draft class to do so.
Also, not everyone's like Zion. Like, I think we got fucking spoiled like with Zion last year.
Isaac Okoro. Yeah. Like, outside of that, I don't know any other freshmen who are yoked. So, like, when people say, "Oh, he needs to fill out,"
I'm trying to think. Was Ayton yoked? Would you describe Ayton as yoked when he was coming out of Arizona? Okay.
Yeah, Ayton was a brick shithouse. Day 1, ish.
Ish. But yeah, like,
I dropped the Uso in there.
Day 1. Yeah, he's the one. Like, he does have the length. He is athletic. You're right. He's got to fill out, but not too much to where he loses athleticism. Right. But he's got things that can add, to me, to a playoff team where it's like,
you know what I would
he can catch and shoot, he can defend, go ahead. Guard multiple positions, too.
Two teams in the 20s who I think would be an absolute steal to grab him.
Yeah.
The Jazz and the Thunder.
Okay.
I love the idea of the Jazz because I know they have Bogdanovich there at the 4 right now. And again, he wasn't there for the bubble. But, like, long term, I think he would be an excellent second guy to Donovan Mitchell out there. I think that they need to have somebody else who can help contribute. And obviously, they're going to be rotating through and looking for options because as a team with Conley, Gobert, Bogdanovich, and Mike Conley for right now. And it's just like they need another guy who has that high-end caliber potential to him. And I don't think they have that. I don't think they have a guy who's going for a home run shot. And I think McDaniels would fit really well there. And the Thunder, very same manner.
Fits right in.
He would be perfect for the Thunder long term. Obviously, if Gallo signs elsewhere, there's an immediate opening. They have Baisley to play the 3 of the 4, whatever they need him to do. But like, he would get minutes. He would get time. He's athletic. He's a long boy, and he can fit into multiple lineups because, again, he's 6'10", but he can play the 3. He can play the 4. I hope to God they don't make him a small ball 5, but like, it's just. He's somebody who I really am high on, and I think that in the 20s he's a steal. I think my big board I'm still working on right now, my final big board, but like I think he's going to be very good. The other guy I got.
Well, before you do that, I want to touch on the Jazz and Thunder really quick because the 2 questions I have, and they're not like big conversation pieces, where the Jazz would work. The only question I have for the Jazz is There's a question of, do they need to get a guy that is a true backup to Mike Conley and be able to run the offense when Conley's not out there? Also, there's the questions of, are the Jazz going to trade Mike Conley, which means they would need a point guard. So
unless they get anyone back.
That's one, unless they get one back. So that's question one with the Jazz. And with the Thunder, the only reason I didn't have them in my mock that we're going to come out with later, in that mock I didn't, because someone fell. Like, it was someone from the teens fell into their lap, and it's like, oh, we're not going to take him. But like, the Thunder are pick. You bring that up, I'm like, shit, that's a Presti pick. Like, take a guy who complete questions, but hey, he fills out, and then he's just a fucking athlete, Hamidou.
Yeah. And that's a lot of people want to say, like, Precious Achua. Like, is it better?
I don't know how to feel about Precious.
And I'm with you. I think that McDaniels is a better prospect than Precious. I think Precious is a better athlete, but McDaniels is a better basketball player.
I think Precious, I'm not even going to say that because I don't even think that. I was going to say Precious can help you more right now, but I don't even believe that, because if Jade McDaniels goes to, I almost said Jalen before I had to like look at the name. If Jaden McDaniels goes to the right team, like you said, he can impact right away. Who's the other player you were going to bring up before I gave him my 2 cents?
Long time name.
Oh, first time, long time.
Long time. Killian Tilly.
Ooh, that's one I've seen some tricklings late first round, but it hasn't fucking caught steam, Dave.
I get that the dude is a 4-year player. Yep. I get that he has had injury issues in the past. But he's a 6'10" power forward who has incredibly good shooting splits.
Yep.
Who has all of the ability to block shots. He can guard out in some space at the center position. Like, he is exactly what you want for a bench, power forward center kind of a guy. Like, he is 100% going to be a plus player at the NBA level. And he is mocked so low, and I don't quite understand it. Like, he's a guy who's taking, it was just under 4 shots a game from 3 at 40%. Yeah. Like, he's got a good free throw percentage. It's a mid-70s his whole college career, basically. Last year he got hurt in his junior year, but like everything about him is like high IQ player, Gonzaga 4-year player. He's smart, he's dedicated, he's got decent size to him. Like, what am I missing on him? Is it just the age plus the previous injury? And I get that knocks you down the board a little, but like, is every team not looking for a stretch 4, stretch 5?
The only
I feel like that's just like a universal at this point. I'm like, who wouldn't want that on their bench?
The only
thing,
a
guy who can come in and knock down a couple threes a game, take that.
The only thing I can think of is, number one, I wonder if it's the age-old adage with older players where the older you get, the more teams go, how close is that floor and that fucking ceiling? Whereas it's wider when you're a freshman, might be a little closer. So like, maybe some people are saying, well, that ceiling ain't much further. Where like, maybe in your mind, you're like, well, his floor is already here. That ceiling could be higher than we expect him to. And like you say that, oh, who's not looking for a stretch 4? The thing is, and this is a thing that plays into it. So the for sure first rounders at the 4. Obi's probably going to go top 10. Pokusevski probably could sneak into the lottery, but is definitely a top 20 pick to be safe. Yeah. Jalen Smith, Patrick Williams, Precious Achua, I think are all first rounders. It then comes to that outside of picks like Paul Reed. I don't think he's a first rounder, but he would be on the outside. Reggie Perry from Mississippi State, I've seen thrown around.
Woodard also.
Woodard is another one that I like him later on in the first. Also, Isaiah Stewart out of Washington.
Yeah, I really don't like Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, I'm
like, there's nothing wrong with him. It's just his game.
Yeah, I'm hot and cold on him. Where it's like,
but like, he's got a fucking Killian Tilly's got a 63% true shooting percentage. Like, he's big. He knocks down shots. And again, you said power forward. And I just want to clarify for a lot of people out there. Like, the 4 or the 5 is kind of meld at this point. So like, you're either a wing or you're a floor spacing big, and these players would all be kind of floor spacing bigs to that respect. So I just look at Killian and I go, he's going to succeed at the NBA level. And, I think he probably is going to be like, he's going to sound dumb, but like, there's a chance he'll probably be like a top 15 player Because
Is he the Draymond Green Award or the Malcolm Brogdon Award winner?
The
guy that went in the second that should have went in the first.
I've always been winning Patrick Winston on that award for the last 2 years.
Nico Mannion might be a sneaky pick there for the Malcolm Brogdon Award.
Because he's a freshman, you putz.
What?
He's a freshman,
oh, that's right. That's right. I'm thinking second rounders that should be in the first. Yeah, this one's an upperclassman.
But, no, I mean, like, it's... I think I was looking at the stats the other day for, like, what percentage of first rounders, play more than 3 years, have a chance to put up more than, like, 10 points a game kind of thing. It's really low, actually.
Is it?
It is incredible. Yeah, I'll dig back and I'll pull up the stats for our draft, but like, it's crazy how low of a percentage it is. And we're talking about the best 500 basketball players in the world, basically. I know there's obviously exceptions in Europe and in China and everywhere else, but like the idea is that it's so hard to find hits, and I feel like he's a no-brainer guy and a kind of a guy where it's like, you saw what he can do at the best level in college sports. And he came back. He looked good, like off his injury.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not going to be down there soaking up 1 billion rebounds for you, but that's because he's a floor spacer. And I think there's value in that. So I think that, like, that's, to me, he's a guy who's getting slept on because of his age, but I think he'll translate his game really well to the NBA. Imagine him, like, this Gonzaga team this year was interesting. It's really interesting. I'm not going to be mean.
Yet again, too, like, the thing that sucks is because of COVID, we don't have an ending to the season. Like, the season ended, but there was no March Madness, so we didn't see how these teams really unfolded late in the year.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It was just a thought that, like, I'd be curious to see where he would end up at.
2 final thoughts I have, Dave. Number one, just to clarify, for people who... the gloss over with Isaiah Stewart when you said it's just his game. Correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm speaking for you, but speaking for myself. I agree with you in that sense because everything that I see goes, he's an old school player who 100%. Plays in the post, and it's like, that's not today's NBA. You got to shoot from the outside, buddy. Can you
at
do that?
At least stretch it 15 feet.
Exactly.
And there's a chance he can. I'm never going to count anyone out.
He can work
but
on
I mean, like, literally looking at fucking Ja out there, and he can't get minutes, and he's changed his game completely. I think Ja's and Jahlil Okafor.
It's funny because I think that's his comparison that I saw is Jahlil Okafor, which I was like, ooh, that's not good.
Jahlil Okafor had one of the smoothest back to the basket post moves in the fucking game day one of his NBA career, and he was very good at it. But it's just like the needs of the NBA have changed that position, and while Isaiah Stewart is a better defender than Jahlil Okafor was. Yeah. Like, I think Jahlil Okafor has a better chance of coming back and getting minutes again in the league than Isaiah Stewart does. I think Isaiah Stewart will be in the G League for a little bit. I think that he will get bench minutes on a team because at some point you need bodies, and he can get you a couple good buckets. I just don't know if he doesn't have that, like, uber second step and jump, kind of like a Ed Davis or a Rashawn Holmes, where those guys made their careers and they went from kind of like lower end prospects to second unit guys to even now Rashawn Holmes gained that starting role on the Kings because of his effort and his bounce. And I don't know that Isaiah Stewart has it. Isaiah Stewart has strength, which different thing. He might be a matchup kind of specific kind of guy.
Yeah. Last thing I was going to say, quick in passing, is the top 3 right now, I would say, for the Malcolm Brogdon Award. If you're unfamiliar with that, upperclassman taken in the second for us, who should have been a first-round pick. Tilly is on that list. Jordan Nwora is on that list. Cassius Winston. That's my top 3 for it. Guys,
Peyton Pritchard's up there.
Okay. Now, here's the question. Are sophomores included, or is it just juniors and seniors?
I was counting upperclassmen, so junior, senior.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's why I just
Desmond Bain, but he, from all sounds like he's going first round.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams in the late 20s that like him. Boston's one of them.
Yeah, so I mean, there are definitely some upperclassmen. Grant Riller is a Reddit fucking fanboy pick. I don't know if I'm 100% in on him. But yeah, there's a number of guys who could be very good and translate the game. It's a toughie. Any other names from you, Ricky?
No, that's it for me.
Shout out Jan Nader then.
Go ahead.
Shout out whoever you want,
Dave. Go ahead.
International draft stash. Let him go for a while. He's playing over there in the same league as Denny was, and I had seen a game with them together, and Yam has potential. I don't think that he is a NBA guy tomorrow, but I think that he has the skill set to come over in a couple years and be a very good contributor.
Mm-hmm.